Today, we gather as American Muslim community leaders, imams, clergy, law enforcement, and government officials to send a resounding message to the public and our fellow citizens that ISIL, Al-Qaeda, and groups like them are an aberration to the faith of Islam, and that these perverted groups do not share the values, principles, and the sanctity of human life which we are taught to hold so dear to in our faith. We as American Muslims also understand that groups like ISIL prey upon the vulnerable in our communities and use the internet to peddle their black and white binary view of the world. Therefore, we must also ensure that we have the ability to keep our communities resilient and safe.
There can never be any religious justification to the killing of civilians and the destruction of civilian infrastructure. Those misguided few who commit such acts are criminals and not martyrs. It is our religious duty to continue to denounce any group who commits terrorist act and blatantly disregards the sanctity of life. We will continue to reiterate that the actions of these groups has no basis in the teachings of Islam. We would also like to make clear that our faith, which is practiced by around 6 to 7 million people here in the US and over 1.5 billion people around the world, in no way supports nor condones the action of these terrorists. Terrorism in all its form is un-Islamic. The religion of Islam should never be associated with terrorism and extremism, and the mainstream Muslim community should never be looked at as a group to be suspected and feared. Our civil rights and freedom to practice our religion should never be compromised due to the actions of extremists who do not represent us.
Young people, please do not listen to this ideology. I would like to invite you to join organizations and communities that build, not demolish. Save life, not take life. Because it's the Holy Quran that says, whoever take one life, as if have taken the life of all humanity. And whoever save one life, as if have saved the life of all humanity.
We're very concerned about the language Islamic State, to refer to this group, ISIL, as Islamic State. Please, media, we're actually, as leaders, and we're the experts on this subject. We represent millions. Put anti-Islamic State before that word. And any of those states, put anti before that, because this is not an Islamic State. It's not an Islamic state of being. It's not an Islamic state of mind. And it's not an Islamic state that the Prophet himself created in his first state. We saw this beauty and this peace and this equality for all religions, Jews, Christians that were there with him.
We never in this country confused the Ku Klux Klan with a Christian organization. Why should we allow people then to associate Islam with the kind of violent extremism and hatred of groups like ISIS or ISIL? In this country, we're having a challenge right now that young men are looking and are feeling frustrated, seeing the death and destruction around the world and saying, what can I do about it? And as a result of that, some of them have been deceived into thinking that there's a shortcut to social change, that it comes from the barrel of a gun or off of a shoulder rifle. The reality is that our men in this community, you see the men behind me, need to make a concerted effort to engage young men when they're having these thoughts about becoming a jihadist. I think one writer, he called it jihadi cool. There's nothing cool about being a jihadist. You're a loser